So, hey guys, my name is Aaron Moore, currently at Ohio State, and I'm just going to tell you guys my journey. My journey is so unique. I probably might have one of the weirdest stories out here of how I got involved with football. I'm just going to say up front, I didn't play football until my senior year of high school. Yes, you guys heard that correctly. I did not play football until my senior year of high school. It's kind of funny because actually my junior year in high school, I was taking photos for the football team. Yeah. And you're like, wow, like that's just crazy. Like you just picked up a football and like did all this. No. I did not do all that. I was luckily enough grateful to have people in my life to help me with this. But it's definitely been something I had to work towards. As I was a junior taking photos, I'm like, wow, like this football stuff is really cool. I went to a well-known high school. I went to the same high school as Travis Kelce and Jason Kelce and Tyreek Smith, Jalen Harris, like all those top guys. So as I'm taking all these photos, I'm getting really close with the coaches, and they're like, wow, like we see you do track, we see you do all these other sports, like why don't you try football? And Mom, if you're watching, my mother didn't let me play football. And it was so funny because we've had multiple debates and you're like, I'm not gonna get hurt, I'm gonna be fine. So luckily I convinced my mother to let me play my senior year. My dad played college football at Slippery Rock University, and then I also had family as well, very heavily involved in college athletics and college football for sure. So I've always had an interest in it, and I always just wanted to just try it out and see what I can do with it. So my junior year, I'm training every single day, probably like 3 times a day, and just doing little things and just learning football from the bare bones, like the very fundamental things, and do that throughout my junior year. And then we go to the summer after my junior year, after track season, got a little notice from track and then football, and then going to camps. And then that's when I was able to like actually understand and play football for the first time. It was very funny. I remember my first football camp, and I didn't even know what position I was supposed to go at. I thought I was a receiver. And actually, I saw how many people went over to the receiver line, and I was like, well, I've also been practicing at corner, I was a corner, and I was like, let me just go over here because it's a shorter line, and then the rest is history. So through just camps and everything, doing well at corner and everything like that, you're going to all these different camps that college coaches were there just looking at it. They were like, wow, you're doing really well, like you're doing really well for yourself. Like, do you have any film? I was like, I do not have any film. And that was a huge like turn off for a lot of coaches because they're just like, well, we don't even know if you can play football. And it was just so funny just having these conversations and seeing like, you're like, oh, you don't play football. And it was just super funny. And then we go to the Ohio State camp. This is like what I was going towards. I was just like, well, like my sister's here already, and I was just like, it would just be really cool. This would be like a cool story. Like I'm from Ohio, like you can't ask for anything better than to play for Ohio State. So go to the camp, trying everything I can to impress coaches. And I think at the end of the day, I had a pretty good camp. I ran like a good 40 time and did really well in one-on-ones. And then after the camp, I go to the coach who found me from track, and we started like talking and just saying like everything. We were just talking. I was like, hey, like, what do you think? And they were like, wow, like, we'll see how spots are looking, but just let me know with football, and like send me your film after football. But let's continue talking. And I'm just over here like, I don't care what it may look like. Take me as a walk-on. Take me as all these things. I was like, because just to be a part of the Buckeyes, that's meant a lot to me. So doing that, then we go to summer preseason, and I'm actually doing very well. I'm playing running back and like corner. That was my main positions, and I'm doing pretty good in the preseason. So I sent him that film, and he was like, okay, let's continue talking and everything like that. And then we get to the end season of high school. I play against a little bit of the first game, a little bit in the second game, still like trying to coach me in, and then like I get injured. I think I had a high ankle sprain, and I couldn't walk afterwards, and I was in a boot for like 2 to 3 weeks. And And then I'm just like, dang, like God, why would you do this? And I'm just like I was doing so well, and all these things happening, but I just try, at the time I was really frustrated. So end up start playing again, start doing very well, start just doing little things. I don't have a lot of film out there in high school, but just from the little film that I had, it was just enough. I remember getting a DM from one of the Ohio State coaches. He was like, hey, we want you to come down. Talking to Coach Halfley and Barnes, I think those are the coaches who recruited me. They were just like, yeah, I think you have potential, and they gave me a shot, and that's all I wanted. But here is where it gets interesting, because as I'm doing well in high school, I'm still not really playing for real. And somehow I'll just play a little bit, but it wasn't anything crazy. This time I only have one offer as a walk-on to be at Ohio State, and I'm just that's still pretty good. I still was trying to talk to other colleges, and there was some smaller schools too, but I'm just well, I have Ohio State in my back pocket, so I'm just let me just take that. And I was plus my sister's there, plus I'm from Ohio, can't pass that up. So ended up, committing there as a walk-on, and then I'm not gonna lie, all those things I was praying about with God, and God allowed me to be at Ohio State. Once I got the Ohio State offer, I don't say acting different, but just in my personal life, I felt that I was trying to be somebody that I wasn't. I don't say I forgot about God, but at the same time, I didn't pray as much as I did, or I was doing things I shouldn't have been doing. Next thing you know, I'm in class and I get a phone call from one of the recruiters. They're like, there was something wrong with your test. Can you retake your test? And I'm just like, oh yeah, why? And I'm just and I was like, what's wrong with it? And he was like, yeah, there's something wrong with your test, and you can't retest it before, I don't think you can come in the summer. And I was oh my gosh. And I'm just that's crazy, because just as I felt I was the very top, God took it away from me that. And I'm just and nobody knew about this. So I'm over here just thinking, I'm just I don't want people to look at me differently, but I'm just trying my best to hold it all in, because I don't want people to know this, because I'm in my head, I can just retake the test, and then I'll be fine, and nobody needs to know all these details. So as I'm trying to find how to take the test, COVID happens and the world literally stops, as you guys know. And the test I was supposed to take got canceled. I'm studying all these different things just to try to keep that thing. And then COVID happens, and I'm realizing hey, this opportunity that you worked so hard for isn't gonna happen. And I'm over here losing it, because I don't even know what I'm gonna do now. I'm where should I even go to school? Do I still want to continue playing football? All these things. In that time, I just leaned so heavy on God, and that kind of re-jumped my faith a little bit, because I was living. I don't say living for the world, but I was just feeling I was with God, but I really wasn't truly with Him, and that's where my faith got re-energized, if you can say, and it was a very interesting 7 months, not telling people, not having people know what happened, and just feeling ashamed of what happened. And I probably told a few people about this. I feel that was God's way of telling me, hey, stop what you're doing. If you continue doing these things, you're not gonna do well. You're not gonna be successful. And the mindset I was gonna go into college with wouldn't have sustained me for so long. It might have been cool for a year or two, but it wouldn't have lasted me for 4 years or whatever. So I feel like God really just wanted me to like sit down, get close with Him before entering that space. But it was extremely hard. I'm over here taking online classes, I think at the University of Akron, just because, you know, that was like my only option. But through that, like, I regave my life to the Lord, and I would say, like, God, if this is still an option I really want to pursue, and, you know, if you open this door for me, I promise I'll give it, you know, my all. I'm keep saying this over and over. I still stayed in contact with everybody, and they still had a spot for me. So I came in the winter. I think school allowed me to because of my major, and so I could have went there in the winter, which doesn't happen a lot. Only a few people can transfer over in the winter or after one semester, but luckily I did. And I didn't have to go through admissions or anything. They just moved my classes over, which was great. Very blessed, because that's a door that, you know, I was like, how are you gonna open this door? Like, how are you gonna allow me to just get there in the winter if that's what you want? But yet here we are, and I get there in the winter. I don't know anybody, because everybody who I knew in the class of the 2020 was already there, and it was very, you know, eye-opening. I saw them go to a natty. I saw them win the Big Ten. I saw them do all these things that I'm just like I should be a part of that. And I had to really hear God to say, like, just wait your turn, or just wait. And you know, I wish you know, me selfishly, I wish I would have went to experience a national championship game or win the Big Ten, but I just realized that God was just preparing me for something bigger. So then we end up, you know, working out. So I come in, I think, with the next class. So that's Marvin, Emeka, Kyle, all of them. So, and then we start training, and then, you know, now after year 3, you know, here we are. So it's very, it's not ordinary. It's not, you know, cute, you know, but at the same time, that's my story of how I came to play at Ohio State. And I feel like, you know, God's really calling me to, you know, share my testimony to help you guys out, because I know there's a lot of stress, a lot of, I can never do that, but, you know, God is literally saying, yes, you can. He could just open doors that you don't even know, you don't think could be open. I didn't think I could play football collegiately after 1 year, but after 3 years playing collegiately, you know, I could be an example. And I think just in my time of prayer, I feel like God is just really just revealing a lot to you guys of what could happen. And God does want to give you these things, and God wants to do, He does want to open these doors for you. But you also got to realize that, you know, like I had to experience that I needed God before experiencing what God wanted for me. And having that time to really develop myself and to grow was super huge for me, because without that, I don't think I get rebaptized. I don't think I give my life to the Lord. I don't think I even maybe graduate or just have a good head on my shoulders. But you know, I didn't see that, 3-4 years ago. But looking back at it now, I just realized that God had His hands over everything. And if you really want this, this lifestyle I just shared upon about just playing collegiately in whatever sport that may be, I just ask you to, give that to the Lord and just say, like, hey, have your way. And I know there's gonna be challenges in high school with, just emotions and everything, but, God has you. God won't forsake you. I was reading in Exodus, and it talks about how, God heard their cries, and He cares for them through all their misery and struggles. It's the same thing for us. And just know that whatever you do, you can't go wrong doing it for God's way. I thought I was doing it for God's way growing up or in the beginning, but realized that I was doing it for myself, and my ways always lead to destruction. That's just how we are naturally. So thank you for listening. And if you want more videos like this of me just opening up of like what I've gone through, because so you guys don't have to go through this or doubt that you guys can't, let me know. I will feel free to. And that's really just it. So if you stayed to the end of this video, it obviously shows that you guys like my channel and what I have to say. So there's gonna be a lot more content like this. So if you want to subscribe, like, and share, comment, follow me on Instagram, TikTok, Redbubble, Patreon. I think that's really it. If you want to do all those, go right ahead and let me know what you guys want to see. If you want more sit-down conversations about my experience, about what's practice like, or what's a game week like, or just stuff like that, just let me know. I'm always here for you guys, and always let me know what questions you guys have. So, see ya.